again. What is your full name?
Michael Eugene Williams.
All right. And how long have you owned this business?
My wife and I purchased it in 1990, so we've been owning it now, I guess, 24 years. And I actually started working here in 1979 for the original Mother Murphys, the people that opened the business in 1968.
And you said that since you started working young, you've been employed here for like a good while. So did you always want to own this business from the start, or did
Probably not until after I started working here.
Yeah.
Once I started working here, I thought, wow, this is a fun place to work. It's a great atmosphere and stuff like that. And I suppose Mother Murphy, being an older woman, even when I was managing the store for her, had a little carrot stick action going with me, with maybe someday, I might could sell you the store or something like that, But after working here for a couple of years and hanging out on college campus, college kids and stuff, I was probably in my early 20s, I think, and I had dropped out of high school when I was 16. So I started back to school and ended up going part-time for 8 years to get my 4-year marketing degree. But during that time, she sold it to the landlord, like in 1985. But he didn't really want anything to do with the business because he already was working full-time and owned several other businesses, so he didn't really want to buy it unless I was here to run it for him. So right at the onset, when he was buying the business, he said, maybe in 5 years when you graduate, I'll sell you the business. And true to his word, after I graduated from college, he did make a plan for me to buy it under contract. So my wife and I signed some papers and bought the business.
That's great. What were some setbacks and roadblocks from owning this business?
Well, initially, the business started way back in the 60s, so we carry a lot of the products of the era, including water pipes and unusual pipes, not your standard styles. And so in the 80s, they passed a lot of drug paraphernalia laws. And so right at the beginning when I bought it, I actually was charged and they tried to prosecute, but they never. I had good legal representation and really wasn't breaking the law because the law is all based on intent. And the intent here is all spelled out for legal use only. And so either way, nothing ever became of that there. So we were clear, although they tried to warn me before. I've hired a lawyer 3 different times, but I've never gotten into any real trouble other than having to pay the lawyer. And the other times I've had trouble in the business, I suppose it's just financially, the ups and downs of sales and, just trying to keep up with that type of financial stress sometimes. Speaking of that, I've been on 3 different times. I've gone out to moonlight while I was the business owner here. I've worked at Avanti's, delivering pizzas and sandwiches. I worked at a Mitsubishi satellite company. Oh, what I am in Canada. Yeah. I worked at a gas station as well. So, sometimes when things get a little bit tight, it don't make no darn difference.
Was this always a skate shop as well? Or?
No, actually, my wife and I'm glad you asked that question. Actually, we didn't go over this last time, but after we bought Mother Murphy's in 1990, 2 years later, we opened Shockwave Skateboards over in Bloomington as a separate entity store. And my wife ran that while I continued to stay out here and run Mother Murphy's. And then in 2003, to get the skateboards out here to a younger clientele, the students, as opposed to downtown Bloomington, where it's an older clientele that would be walking up and down the street, as opposed to students. And also, by combining it into our store, we were able to cut our overhead in half, literally, both employees, staffing-wise, as well as rent, insurance, all these different things that we were paying 2 stores. now kind of combined into one. So that really helped us to sustain both the businesses.
Yeah. What do you enjoy most about owning this business?
Well, we were just talking about the downtimes. I guess one of the best things about owning the business is that it's kind of almost automatic feedback when you're doing good things. Like when sales are good, when you make purchases of products and they sell really quickly. I mean, it's kind of almost a self-esteem thing. And I was like, hey, that's a good idea. I'm glad, you feel good about yourself because it's automatic feedback. You see new products, say, I wonder how that will sell. And you put it on your shelf and customers go crazy over it and stuff like that. I mean, the opposite can be true. You can buy a product and nobody wants anything to do with it, but more probably the other opposite occurs. The good part occurs to where I feel good,
Yeah.
I guess it's a good problem to have. It's kind of catch-22. You love to always be making the sales and having that money come in, but you hate to be low on products. And oftentimes I find it hard to keep up with demand, which is a problem, but I guess it's a better kind of problem to have.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you a lot for this interview.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.